Good evening. I call to order the regular meeting of the Mayor and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Burr Ridge for Monday, June 28, 2021. Trustee Paveza, would you lead us in Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Al. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
I think he's right here. Say present. Drum roll.
Trustee Francis. Okay. Trustee Schiappa?
Here.
Trustee Paveza? Trustee Snyder?
Here.
Trustee Mattal? Trustee Smith?
Here.
Mayor Grasso?
Here. That'll take us to item 3, presentations and public hearings. We do not have any presentations or public hearings tonight. And now we're on item 4, the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine by the village board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member or citizen so request, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda, discussed by the board, opened for public comment, and voted upon during this meeting. Minutes. 5A, approval of regular board meeting of June 14, 2021. B, receive and file plan commission of June 21, 2021. 6, ordinances. C, approval of an ordinance denying a variation from the Burr Ridge zoning ordinance to permit a fence in the side yard of a single-family residential lot rather than the requirement that fences be located only in the rear yard. V, 03, 2021, 16W 361, 95th Place, Angelov. 7, resolutions. B, approval of resolution approving final plat of subdivision, Grant Street subdivision. 8, considerations. 8C, I believe will be pulled from the agenda tonight and will be tabled. I'll get a formal motion after this. 8D, approval of request to direct the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to consider a plan unit development for the property located at 324 Burr Ridge Parkway. E, approval of request to direct the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to consider text amendments to Chapter 55 of the Municipal Code related to right-of-way signs. F, approval of request to direct the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to consider text amendments to the zoning ordinance related to commercial vehicle parking in residential districts. G, approval of request to direct the Plan Commission to hold a public hearing to consider text amendments to the zoning ordinance related to performance standards related to noise in business and office districts. H, approval of employment training agreement of police officer Joseph Mandala. I, receive and file resignation letter from planner Joseph Arcus. J, receive and file resignation letter from communications coordinator Janet Cowell. K, approval of Mayor Grasso's appointments to the Economic Development Committee. L, approval of vendor list dated June 28, 2021 in the amount of $373,156.86 for all funds plus $219,239.71 for the pay period ending June 12, 2021, for a grand total of $588,396.57, which includes special expenditures of $20,656 to Flock Safety for the annual Flock system contract. Can I get a motion to approve the following items on the consent agenda? 5, A and B. 6, C, 7, B, 8, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and L.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Schiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Mattal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. I'd like a motion for item, since it was on the consent agenda, can we go to item 8C, approval of a request to remand a petition to the Plan Commission for further consideration, Z05-2021, 15W 351 87th Street, Patel. Can I get a motion to table to the July 12th meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes.
Question?
Yes.
What's the reason for the tabling?
I got an email, I think it was today, that there was a personal family matter. The person wanted to be here to make some comments tonight. Because of the personal family matter, they couldn't do so.
That's 8A.
Oh, I'm sorry.
8C was, I got an email from trustee Francis simply wanting to remove that from the consent agenda for discussion. I apologize.
Oh, then I've crossed wires. You didn't want to table 8C tonight.
8A was the one that we wanted to table, and we can get to that in the due course of the meeting.
Okay, so my
apologies.
confusion, I'm sorry.
no.
So I shouldn't have asked to table that, and I know you were going to take it off, so let me correct the record now. Trustee Francis was going to request 8C be removed from the consent agenda, and he had some questions on it. So at this time, 8C is before the board, since it was part.
Move to reconsider.
Right.
Table.
Move to reconsider the, well,
The table.
because it was approved? Yeah, okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to reconsider the vote on tabling item 8C?
So moved.
Second?
To not approve tabling, okay? And to consider it tonight.
Consider it, so since you had a motion to table, the proper vote would be nay. That would defeat the motion to table. If somebody wants to move that to table, you're going to reconsider your vote, and you're going to vote no. And then it will be before you tonight on the regular agenda.
Okay, so,
Sorry, Sue.
So should I just propose to table 8C?
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
and then it goes no. Thank you.
You'll move to table it, and then you'll vote no, and it'll
So
still be
moved.
on the agenda.
Gosh, I've caused all this trouble tonight, I'm sorry. So we have a motion to table 8C, reconsidering your vote. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say nay.
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 The nays have it. So it's back on the agenda for tonight. It has been removed from the consent agenda at the request of trustee Francis. And so trustee Francis, for item 8C, please tell us your question.
Did you want to consider tabling item 8A?
I don't believe that we're on the agenda at that point in the agenda yet. I don't believe we're there in the agenda yet.
I think it's 6A.
8A is the one we were requested to table, and
And we're not there
we're
on the
not there on
agenda
the
yet.
agenda yet.
We're on 8C.
Correct.
Yes.
That's fine. So Evan, could you please pull up the Plan Commission packet for this petition and zoom in on that, scroll up a bit, please? Scroll down, please, I'm sorry. One more. Thank you. So, I did read staff's report, and I have to respectfully disagree that this is not spot zoning. The subject property is in a red rectangle. It is surrounded
Trustee
on three
Francis.
sides.
Trustee, your microphone, thank you.
It is surrounded on three sides by R3 zoning. On the fourth side, the north side, it's R4, it's a R4 POD, and we don't use R4 zoning anymore. We haven't used it in about 30-some years. And R4 zoning is more dense than R3. So it would be an island of R2A if this were remanded back to the Plan Commission, and if it were to be approved at some point in time, it would be an island of R2A zoning in the midst of more dense R3 zoning and R4 zoning as well. So, but it was stated in the Plan Commission summary that this is, the purpose of this is so they could build bigger and larger accessory buildings that would not normally be allowed under R3. So that would cause, in my opinion, an undue hardship and undue imposition on the surrounding zoning, the surrounding properties, the surrounding property owners. Larger garages, more accessory buildings, larger, et cetera. So Plan Commission voted 7-0 to deny this request for zoning from R3 to R2A. Back in 2002, this was not in the staff summary. Back in 2002, the previous owner of this property came before the Plan Commission, and I was a member, and Al was on the board of the trustees, and this was rezoned from R1 to R3 because of the surrounding zoning, okay? And there was a property owner at that time was not intending to subdivide, but they wanted to have consistent zoning should they decide to sell at some future point. And it was unanimously approved by the plan, recommended for approval by the Plan Commission, and subsequently unanimously approved by the board in 2002. That, I don't think, was pointed out. It certainly wasn't in the Plan Commission packet, and it may have been in the minutes, but I couldn't find it. So I would request that this not be remanded back to the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission was very clear that this belongs as R3 zoning. It should stay that way. So I think we'd be wasting their time if it was remanded.
Who requested the remand?
The petitioner?
Okay, so good point. I don't know how it got to the consent agenda then. But, all right.
Because it was, because it was a 7-0 vote. I'm sorry, never mind. Yeah, I don't know how it got to the consent agenda.
Now, the red area, the red rectangle, is the area that we're considering. But are you saying at one point the entire lot was R1?
Yes, when it was annexed into the village, it automatically is annexed as an R1 property. That gives the village then direction, the ability to determine its zoning, appropriate zoning, based on what's surrounded. So that's automatic with every property that's annexed into the village.
Right, so the remainder of the lot is going to stay what?
The remainder of the lot?
Isn't this lot, that is...
Everything around it would say R3 because it's not part of the petition. The red is the only lot that's under the petition before you. There's a lot next door which is separate and not part of the petition.
Okay.
And that is R3.
Three.
Is the petitioner here?
No.
Okay, so trustee Francis has asked that this be taken off the consent agenda and that the request to remand be denied. So with that, do I have a motion to deny the request to remand to the Plan Commission Z05 2021 15W 351 87th Street, Patel?
So moved.
Any discussion? Any public comment? Roll call, please.
Trustee Francis?
Yes?
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. Good catch, Guy.
Thank you.
All right. Now, if we can get back on track, thanks to the mayor's confusing everything. That'll take us to 6, ordinances A, consideration of an ordinance granting special use approval pursuant to the Burr Ridge zoning ordinance for a restaurant with sales of alcoholic beverages and outdoor dining, Z01 2021 312 Burr Ridge Parkway, Rovito, Andrews. So, can I get a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion at the board level? Any public comment? Anybody want to make a comment on this? Roll call, please.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes?
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. Takes us to 8B, consideration of an ordinance granting a variation from the Burr Ridge zoning ordinance to permit the expansion of a restaurant in County Line Square without the required number of parking spaces, Z01 2021 312 Burr Ridge Parkway, Rovito, Andrews. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved. Second.
Okay, second Smith, moving Snyder. Any comment at the board level? Yes.
I have some comments related to 2 of the noise complaints that were received from the adjacent restaurant on was it June 14th and also last Saturday night. I'd like to ask a few questions of staff. Is a special use permit needed for live music or DJ music?
Yes, live entertainment qualifies as a special use.
How about DJ music?
We would count that as live music, live entertainment, yes.
Okay, so, and does the petitioner, does the owner of that restaurant have a special use permit for live or DJ music?
Talking about county wine merchant?
We're talking about
No, Capri.
Capri.
I don't believe so.
Okay. All right. Is music allowed in our, as a part of our tent programs? Is live DJ or piped-in music allowed in our tents?
In the temporary tents,
Yes.
it was never explicitly delineated if it was or it was not.
Okay. Is it a special use for a restaurant to be a banquet facility? In other words, to hold banquets or wedding receptions or such that you go to a venue for your daughter's wedding, and hire out a venue for your daughter's wedding reception, and serve guests and have dancing and live music and a typical wedding reception, as opposed to going into a restaurant and ordering a meal off of a menu and having a cocktail off the menu and paying your bill and leaving.
I don't believe that's specifically delineated either. Usually they just state them as restaurants, meaning more the latter that you're describing, meaning a sit-down plated meal.
Thank you. So I have a concern that after we approved Are We Live 2 weeks ago, and we were sure that the petitioner would be cognizant of all the rules and regulations and whatever in the village, that we had 2 noise complaints. And I believe the chief, you can comment on the noise complaints that were registered, please?
We had a noise complaint last weekend, a week ago. The officers responded, and there was no citation issued. We had another noise complaint Saturday night. The complaint came in about 10:35 p.m. The officers arrived on the scene at the complainant's home in the Village Center, 450 Village Center Drive, at about 10:45. So they interacted with her for about 15, 20 minutes. She was very upset, so they went over to see Mr. Ravito at the restaurant at Capri and asked him to turn down the music, ultimately asking him to turn it off. It was about 11:15 when they were there. He said it was not going to turn the music off. It's in the police report. He said he would turn it down a little bit. The officers had left, recontacted the complainant, who could still hear the music very loud, and requested that she sign a village ordinance citation for the loud music. And the village ordinance citation was disorderly conduct. The citation was issued, was delivered back to Mr. Ravito.
So with a citation, is there some sort of monetary penalty, or what's the path forward?
Well, it's a village adjudication ticket.
Okay.
It's an ordinance ticket.
Right.
There's a monetary penalty at the maximum, I believe, is $750.
Maximum $750, but for a first-time offense, it might be less?
It's up to the judge.
It's up to the judge, so anywhere from $0 to $750.
I believe the minimum is $125.
Okay, $125 to $750, thank you. Okay, so here we got DJ music inside of a tent and disturbing our residents, and I don't think that was the intent of our tent program, number one. But certainly, if neighbors in the village center can hear it, I wonder what the restaurant customers, what they can hear inside the restaurant. They're much closer than someone sitting inside their home with their windows and doors shut and so forth. So I'm very disappointed that I have to bring this up and mention this, because we had assurances 2 weeks ago, and now we look like fools. So, thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Joe.
Chief, can you tell me in the last year, June to June, how many complaints you had or violations, just noise complaints?
From June 20th, and I updated it today to July, present day. Village-wide, we've had about 17 noise complaints. In County Line Square total, we've had 9. And the breakdown to that is, majority of them were at the County Wine Merchant. There was 5 complaints. And at 324 Burridge Parkway, which is Capri, we've had 3, counting the most recent one.
Those are 3 separate for Capri? 3 separate noise complaints?
Yes.
5 separate complaints on County Wine Merchant? Or
Yes.
One, same day?
Same day, no.
Same day, with all different days?
No.
Okay.
all the way back to June of 2020.
Thank you.
So to be clear, there were 2 complaints in the last 2 weeks.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
So I understand trustee Franzise's concerns about noise, but I think we should still stay directed that these are 2 separate entities. And it sounds like we are after a different entity that is not part of the ordinance 6B. And I think we should stay focused on 6B as a separate entity, which is Are We Live, not the Capri Restaurant.
Done? Tony?
Right, and I agree, and however, it's the same operator, so that's what we have to keep mindful of. And I think this petition is heightened now in the past 2 weeks, because thankfully we have a transparent system where we come and discuss it, and then we come and pass it 2 weeks later in an ordinance. So I think with that, there were 2 events that were held there. Are they kosher with the tent program or not? I'm not sure, as Mr. Evans said, Mr. Walter said, that it wasn't clearly delineated. And I want to say that, he's been a good operator. Yeah, I am disappointed that we did get emails about the noise. It was a Saturday evening, correct? So
The first one was a Friday night. It was Bo Jackson's event. It
Jackson.
doesn't make it different that it was Bo Jackson's event.
Right.
But that's the third, it's always the third Friday, I believe, of June. And the most recent one was Saturday night, right? The 25th. That was a wedding.
Right.
But
and I think over the lifespan of the restaurant, they've been a great neighbor of ours. I believe the tent's going to be coming down. It's not a permanent structure, and we're going to go back to the restaurant at Capri.
well, I think,
Mayor,
yes, go ahead.
as trustees and as a board, I feel we have a duty to the residents to make sure that their best interest is represented and none of their rights or privacy is, or just, basic rights are violated. So that's one. Secondly, the tents were put up to support the business owners, to make sure that, last year definitely we needed them. This year was more because some residents still prefer to sit outside. So, but it was not, it was to support the residents and the businesses. So it's not fair to the village if they're used for other purposes. And I know, I'm happy that we have a system with checks and balances, so yes, it can be taken for adjudication. But I think we need to think this through, that what are the consequences of actions? And that's how I think our residents will feel comforted that, okay, the board is for them to protect their rights.
Yes, Al?
Well, when I read these complaints, and I just don't understand the music or the DJ that's providing the music has to have it so loud that people 300 feet away can't hear it. People 1,500 feet away can hear it. To me, it makes no sense why they can't adjust the sound. We're asking people 300 feet away to hear it, and then, we're not gonna have as severe a noise complaint as we're having now because they're blasting it at the top of the volume will take.
These things have to be addressed, and you already, as a board, have passed 8G tonight, which was the request to direct the Plan Commission to start holding public hearings on a noise ordinance so that we actually have a specific noise ordinance. You wrote, what was the ticket written under?
Disorderly conduct.
Yeah. So that would be more appropriate that we actually have a noise ordinance. And I agree, the tent program was put up to accommodate the restaurants. It wasn't to have music, although, again, it's always moderation, moderation. I know Eddie Merlot's had a trio from time to time. Now they are off the beaten path, so to speak, and they're not going to disturb anyone. So entities like Capri have to understand that they have neighbors who are particularly sensitive. And the two complaints are from the same resident who we've heard from before. That doesn't diminish them any. But we know that she's going to be listening, and I think it's incumbent upon Capri to respect that and not have loud music at the back of that tent, which is even closer to the village center. So I think it's being dealt with. I'm disappointed too that we've had back-to-back. It doesn't matter that one of them is Bo's event, and it doesn't matter that the other was just a little background. Mr. Ravito did include me on an email that he sent, a very lengthy apologetic email to Ms. Fox explaining that this was a 2020 scheduled wedding reception. Many of you know that Capri had the banquet facility at the 150 Union banquet facility in Countryside, I think that is.
Right, right.
And so the wedding was canceled last year for all the reasons we know. Mr. Ravito doesn't run that facility any longer. He did have the obligation to have the wedding reception that happened last Saturday night at his restaurant. I specifically asked him if there are any other such restaurant or celebrations or anything, and he said no. And we would expect that not to happen, especially since we have back-to-back noise complaints. So unfortunate timing, and I agree, I'm a little disappointed too. Yes, Trustee Francis?
I didn't mean to interrupt, sorry. No, I agree with the other trustees, what they said. And Capri's been a great neighbor and a great citizen in the County Line Square. And these two incidents happen to mar that reputation. It's unfortunate. I'm sure he will do his best to make sure it doesn't happen again. But it's unrealistic to expect a vinyl-covered canvas tent to contain loud music. It's unreasonable. When County Wine Merchant had a jazz trio a couple weeks ago, I walked by there. They're inside, the door's closed. I walked by on the sidewalk. I could barely hear it. The door's shut. It's inside. I've been to County Wine Merchant when they've had the musicians inside. It's quite loud in there. But the noise wasn't escaping outside. I could barely hear it as I walked by on the sidewalk. Now, if this resident or other residents can hear it in their premises with their doors and windows shut, it has to be loud. Unfortunately, I was out of town. I would have gone over there myself and listened to either substantiate or dispute her claims, but I was out of town this weekend. So, but that being said, I'll make the motion to. I'm sorry, the motion has already been made.
Any other
Well,
further comment on this? Yes.
Well, going back to HE, with Plan Commission looking at noise, I want to let the public know that the Plan Commission is going to discuss it, then it's going to come to us, and we're going to discuss it.
Yes.
So that's,
It's to have public hearings at the Plan Commission.
Right.
So the public can come out and we can get some parameters. Obviously, Evans and staff will be giving examples of other municipalities and how they handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I know some equip the police officers with decibel readers, and there might be a decibel standard depending on what's recommended and what the board wants to do. But yes, being outside in the summer air is the problem with the music. I mean, that's where we got the complaints from County Wine Merchant. And so we have to address this. Maybe the one positive takeaway from these back-to-back complaints is that we need to address and have a noise ordinance so that we do balance and respect the residents and also provide for our restaurants. So any more trustee comment on item 6B? Yes?
I have a decibel meter on my phone. It's an app, and you can download it, and it'll tell you, no, I don't want the ads. 72 decibels right now when I'm talking. It'll tell you peak, average, low, and whatever. And this is an app that the police could put on their phone. What may sound loud to one person may not be that loud to someone else. It's subjective, unless you have a device like a decibel meter that can actually give you an objective measurement. So hopefully that'll be baked into the ordinance.
Yeah, I suspect it might be. Thank you for that. No further questions or comments on this item at the board level. Is there any public comment? Is there any public comment on item 6B? B, consideration of an ordinance granting a variation from the Burr Ridge zoning ordinance to permit the expansion of a restaurant in County Line Square without the required number of parking spaces, Z01 2021 312 Burr Ridge Parkway, Rovito, Andrews. Any public comment? Roll call, please.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes,
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. Mr. Rovito, you are here, you heard the board, you heard the chief. Please keep that in mind going forward through the summer.
Philip Provito, the owner of Capri Restaurant. All trustees, good evening, Mayor. I just want to make a quick note. For Bo Jackson event, I did call the chief of police and let him know we did have an event, all due respect, and I did get a complaint. The police officer did come about 8:30. I thought it was a little early. The music wasn't that loud, but they did turn it down, and the police officers never came back. For this wedding, during COVID, I promised these poor people that they lost a family member during COVID. They wanted to get married in Burr Ridge at Capri. And I told them yes. I didn't think there was going to be, it was an entertainer singing Italian music and American music. And they had a little DJ after. I closed the walls up behind me so the people in the condos wouldn't hear it as much maybe. The police did come, I did turn down the music. But overall, having a tent, it's new to me and I'm sure to everybody else here. I don't know what really the rules and regulations is. I don't use that for private parties or disco club in there, like some people are saying. It happened. We have no more events, right? That was no more events of weddings or any kind of other parties. So I apologize if I got anybody mad here. It was only one complaint out of the whole surrounding of the area. So I thought I did a kind of a good job to do somebody a favor during all this. So they were happy. I apologize. Again, like I always say, I try to give you my word that I do my best, but I just can't control everything at one time. When you have a great business and people with this new world, it seems like COVID's kind of going away. They're excited. They want to dance a little bit more. So I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, that takes us to 7 resolutions. 7A, consideration of a resolution extending the declaration of a local disaster until midnight on July 13, 2021. This follows up the declaration, the disaster declaration that I declared and signed. It only lasts for 7 days, so I think we can only do it seven days at a time. Is that?
No,
right?
No, you can extend it, the board can extend it any length of time, but you're limited to a 7-day time period as a maximum without board approval.
Okay, so with board approval, this would extend it to July 13th. It would expire on July 13th. If we think we needed to extend it, I'll ask you for that authority on the 12th. I doubt we will, but we might need it now for some more expenses, which is the only power the mayor has under a declaration, is to spend some money. And that limit is $100,000.
Forget the exact number.
Yeah, which we're nowhere near spending that kind of money, but that's the only power that comes with the declaration. So can I get a motion to extend the resolution, extend the declaration of a local disaster until midnight on July 13, 2021?
so moved.
Second.
Roll call, please. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any public comment? You guys want to put your presentation on, and then we'll have the vote.
Thank you, Mayor. Here to give a summary about our operations from June 20th. That was about midnight on Father's Day, and our tornado response here in Burr Ridge. We were fortunate in comparison to Naperville, Woodridge, and Darien, and that we did not get the kind of brunt of this tornado. It had kind of de-escalated by the time it got here. But really, our hearts too go out to the hundreds of families and businesses that were disrupted by the storm that night, the dozens that were injured, and certainly that one family that was tragically suffered a loss. But our operation here in Burr Ridge really started when the sirens went off at 11:20, and it started to move through Burr Ridge. Shortly thereafter, the police started to notice the damage, close the road. Sergeant Fernson and his staff that night were amazing in their quick response to close and then to contact us. By midnight, we were starting to mobilize. Nick Just, our land and forestry supervisor, was the first on the scene, and from there on out was really the boots on the ground and the coordinator of all this. I can't say enough about him and his response that night and all this week. But he was first out there, started to call guys in, started to assess the damage, what the extent was, how much we needed to assess. By about 2:45, we called DuPage County Public Works Mutual Aid Network. That was a call out for mutual aid for additional assistance, equipment, far more than we had capabilities of. Throughout the night, Nick and his team were clearing the roads. So that by early Monday morning, really all the roads were open. There was nothing closed at that point except for powered down lines because we pushed everything off to the side. That morning, we assessed everything, sent out that Nixle alert you got about what you expected to see as you were going to be leaving town. A couple of roads that were closed, just debris everywhere. Within 12 hours of the total event, Mayor Grasso, thank you, had signed that emergency declaration. It really got us rolling with calling in additional resources. Then throughout that rest of the week, as you see in that timeline too, we've just been working long days, long nights. On the next slide then, we'll see what the path of the tornado that's been assessed by the National Weather Service as it struck through Burr Ridge from Route 83 on the left side of the picture all the way to like Bugey Lane and Willow Springs on the right side. Largely the corridor down 83rd Street. This is an estimate based on just National Weather Service radar data recorded at the time, as well as the National Weather Service site reconnaissance that came out quickly after the storm to assess that damage. The few parcels in pink are the first ones identified as having property damage. We'll get back to that point later about trying to get to that. At this point, it was a EF1 tornado. That's a category EF1. It's about a wind speed of about 86 to 110 miles per hour. They assessed that based on the kind of damage. We had a lot of hardwood trees that were ripped off at their limbs, some roof damage. Again, we were largely spared compared to the EF3 that hit through Naperville. The next picture, you see some of that damage. So by daybreak, this is kind of what we started to see. Homes that were hit by trees, large limbs, whole trees severed off. The police, Tri-State, had responded to a few alarms for property damage, for blown over garage doors, et cetera. As it says, the most severe damage was really between Madison and County Line Road, down again that 83rd Street corridor as you saw on that path. This includes our South Water Tower, is right in the path of that storm. The control building had some roof damage. At the top of the tower, one of the cellular equipment antennas had blown over. We obviously had some concerns about what the tower was, so we had it structurally analyzed within a day. All things being considered, it came out fine, so that's good news on that front. The next picture shows us some additional storm damage. Again, before dawn on Monday, all the roads were closed. As you can kind of see on the left, all the debris was pushed off to the side. We continued to kind of assess what things were happening to homes, as you see on the right. 2 streets remained closed throughout the day on Monday. Several driveways on 82nd Street in addition to that. But by late Monday evening, ComEd had mobilized probably no less than 30 trucks and were installing the new poles and had restored power to all the residents and gotten the lines off the roads. On the next slide, we couldn't have done this without that mutual aid. The County of DuPage County DOT, responded in full force, brought out a chipper crew and aerial crew initially that day. Later on, they mobilized more and brought us some 18 staff throughout the rest of that week. The village of Glendale Heights responded almost immediately. Bensonville and Western Springs came in a little bit later. We couldn't do it without their support and cleaned it up so fast without them and the additional contractors we employed as well. The next slide, and I'll take a break here to call up the team from Team Rubicon. And as they're making their way up there, if you want to come on up, Maggie, and so, really want to kind of highlight this amazing group because DuPage County Homeland Security really notified us about them. We then we're the first ones to contact them and get it going. We identified that Hinsdale District 86 might be a source at which they could be the staging area. District Superintendent Tammy Prentice was amazing and quick in her response in working out the details at Hinsdale South, especially because it's a facility under renovation. As we know, during the summer school, that's their time to do that. But it was better than sleeping in tents, as the team is often used to, we hear. So all they needed was showers and restrooms and a place to sleep, and this was more than adequate for what they needed, but not without its challenges. And by Wednesday, they started to assemble their team. If I could, come and have Maggie Condon, the operations planning leader, come on up and a few words. James Young, if you wanted to, kind of the boots on the ground, the incident management team. Again, thank you guys for response. We'll be up in a minute.
Yeah, please introduce your team and yourself and have at it.
Mayor, trustees, thanks for having us here tonight. My name is James. I'm the incident commander for Team Rubicon for our operation here.
Why don't you get up to the microphone here? Yep.
Oh,
Thank you.
is this better?
Yeah.
Okay. Mayor, trustees, thanks for having us here tonight. My name is James Young. I am the incident commander for the Team Rubicon operation here in Burr Ridge and a couple surrounding areas. Maggie.
Hello, good evening. Maggie Condon here with Team Rubicon as well. I'm not currently deployed to this operation. That's why I'm not in my gray shirt. But again, thank you for all of your support thus far. James is going to cover more of our boots on the ground and our operations currently. So thank you to each and every one of you.
Good evening. My name is Fred LaPointe, and I'm the operations section chief for this operation.
So a week ago, we had a pretty dramatic wind event here in this community. I'm pretty safe to say that a week ago, y'all never knew who Team Rubicon was, or probably never heard of us. Team Rubicon is a veteran-driven disaster response organization. We deploy veterans, first responders, and concerned citizens, committed citizens, to areas of disaster, hurricanes, tornadoes, flooding. This last year, we responded across the nation to deal with COVID. We are the first non-governmental organization in the United States to have a WHO certified medical team for international medical operations across the world. We are a 501(c) nonprofit organization. All of our people on the ground here in this area are volunteers. 75% of our folks here responding to this tornado are actually from the Chicago metro area. We have folks from Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, and also from Utah have come in to help. One thing I'd like to say and express on behalf of Team Rubicon is thank you for letting us come help you. I know when we first started talking to you, y'all didn't know who we were. We do get a lot of questions. Who are you? How much do you charge? We're volunteers. We do this all free of charge. Our mission is to come help. We have bridged the gap between military, first responder service to continue giving back to communities to help people on their worst day. And so that's why we're here, to help. But again, thank you for letting us come tonight to kind of give you a heads up who we are, and thank you for letting us come help y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, just one last closing comment. I see Chief in the back of the room here. So Dave and Police Chief Maddox were gracious enough to meet with myself and one of my counterparts initially, so that way the people that actually do a lot of the great work in the community could come in and get boots on the ground and start working. So Dave will not take enough credit for the amount of work and effort that he's put into our operation here, as well as Chief and all of the law enforcement officers. So I truly want to say, on behalf of Team Rubicon, thank you to Dave. He won't take the credit. Chief, and each and every one of you that had afforded us the opportunity to come in and serve your community. So it was definitely a blessing. It's always a humbling experience on behalf of Team Rubicon to come in and serve a community. So I just want to say thank you to each of you. But I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, we could not have served our residents and businesses without them. The next steps going forward is assessing all that damage all in one form provided by the Illinois Emergency Management Agency. This is the next step in taking it to the governor. Cumulatively, the 5 jurisdictions are submitting these forms. In total, I think we need to achieve something in the realm of $19 million uninsured claims or something like that. There's some threshold out there. They need damage assessment, and we've got to be the ones that provide that in this case. So we're asking the residents and businesses, by that Nixle message you saw earlier today, to email us. In many cases, they've already taken care of it. We would not be able to see the damage if we drove around today and tried to document. So we need to know the damage to their buildings, other losses they incurred, that we could then document in these IEMA forms. So email anything we know about to that tornado21@bird-ridge.gov. We need to complete that quickly. We need that by Thursday so we can turn everything in by Friday to the DuPage County Homeland Security to then submit up to IEMA. Debris disposal. All these efforts over the last week, we've accumulated a ton of debris. We've got about 140 semi-trailers worth of crumpled up branches, limbs, large stuff to move. It's going to be an effort to get rid of this stuff. But we believe we've got some collaboration from Cook County's Forest Preserve District through the Cook County Homeland Security. They mobilize these air curtain burners and they strategically position them at different sites within the Forest Preserve District. One is in Western Springs. So we have that ability, we think. We're trying to work out the logistics to get this over to them. It's like a large incinerator. So it really just kind of makes this go away. We've got a lot of wood chips. If anybody needs firewood or wood chips, I've got a deal to make for you. But really it's going to be the tree conditions too. You've seen the damage out there. There's a lot still standing and there's a lot that needs to come down. We're going to try to trim. Nick Just, certified arborist, is going to be going around to look at those in the high impact area and see what needs to go and what can stay, what can we salvage. These are old trees and it's going to make a difference in the neighborhood if we have to take them. You've seen what we've lost already. Then we have to summarize and report our total costs for you. We've got 2 contractors that have been working long hours, lots of staff, lots of equipment that we couldn't mobilize. And Kramer Tree Care is our vendor for our brush collection. They've got the trucks, the equipment to do that quickly. They came right in and helped us. Landworks Limited, owners in Burr Ridge and their group responded very quickly with a lot of trucks and tractors, or a lot of trucks and trailers, skid steers to load things up, and they really cleared a lot off the streets very quickly for us too. And then our staff, our equipment costs, our overtime will be part of that. But it's really going to be a long-term recovery. As we mentioned, there's a lot of trees down, parkway trees to replace. Residents have lost a lot of trees. We already have an established resident tree program out in the fall. We'll try to work out a program that maybe we can do something for the residents in that matter, or at least publicize it more as a benefit for them. And then I just want to kind of wrap it up by really thanking all the Burr Ridge staff, from our public works team, Nick Just and his whole group, to the police officers with the first on the scene there, and also the front office for fielding, I don't know, probably not less than 100 and some odd calls over the last week for service, maybe more than that. But also our residents and businesses for their cooperation. As they got the Nixle messages, they were bringing stuff out. We were able to work that out. We made lots of rounds and got everything cleaned up fairly quickly, again, thanks to their help. And also our agency partners, like we mentioned before. We don't have the equipment here alone in Burr Ridge to handle that. We couldn't have done it without them. And also our partners in Team Rubicon. Also want to thank Trustee Smith, if you wanted to talk a little bit this time, for your generous offer.
Sure. So thank you, Dave, and thank you, Team Rubicon. So the trustees here in this room, the 6 of us have certainly, we're extremely impressed, very thankful for all the work that you folks have done for our residents here. And just a little thank you from us 6 trustees. We're putting on a lunch for you this Thursday over at the police station. It is funded by us personally. It's not using village funds. It's just a simple thank you so much for the efforts you've done. You know, all of us, when we go to bed tonight, we should probably put a little prayer out there because we are very, very lucky here in Burr Ridge. I mean, when I drove around and saw some of the damage, it could have been the exact opposite of the results. And so, you know, I truly feel blessed for us and our residents. But all of us are excited to be part of this thank you on Thursday. So still working on the menu, but we'll get there. But please join us this Thursday at the police station here in Burr Ridge. It's the least we can do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Evan took me around right after it happened that Monday morning. You see TV and these things, you don't appreciate
Right.
how these events happen in a specific spot. We literally were leaving Village Hall in a Burr Ridge car, driving around, everything looked normal. Turned on 87th Street, went down like 2 blocks, and then all of a sudden, it looked like a movie set for a tornado, because that's what had happened, a tornado. The demarcation lines were amazing. Nothing over here, all kinds of trees and devastation here. To echo Russ's point, I saw trees between houses or in front lawns, but not on roofs. It was amazing how many trees missed homes, so Burr Ridge was very lucky. I might be stealing a little thunder here from Evan, but to give you the sense of what happened, look at that exit sign, exit 13 in Bolingbrook Drive. It's about 5 to 6 miles from us. It ended up in the pond at Lake Ridge Club.
Wow.
Think about that. It's amazing. So yes, we were very lucky, and I received a number of emails from residents thanking Dave, thanking staff. Evan, Dave, and our staff, I think were up at 3 a.m. and already out working at 3 a.m. that day. So, people don't understand. We have a lean staff, and then we ask them to do amazing things, and then they always do amazing things. So, very fortunate, very fortunate. So, anyone else want to make a comment? Yes.
I want to thank Dave, Nick, Team Rubicon. You guys were amazing. I mean, I actually had a tree fall in my yard, maybe 6 feet from my roof. So, I'm right on ground zero, so to speak. But thank you so much. I walked around. All the residents were so complimentary. I mean, they would all tell me that the village was there before they even asked for help. You were very proactive in letting people know to put their branches on the curb, and really, I walked out on Monday, and by Thursday morning, everything was as good as new. I mean, you didn't see a speck anywhere. So, great job. Very proud of the work you do and you have done. So, thank you.
All right. Yes, Tony?
And I live just south of 87th Street, so I'm about 4 blocks from it. So I just want to thank you for the 2 sirens, because I was sleeping through the first one. And when I heard the second one, I said, all right, let's go down to the basement. So thank you for that.
All right. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thanks, Dave. Thank you, Nick.
We need to vote.
Now, Madam Clerk, we need a roll call on the extension of the declaration of local disaster until July 13th.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes. Takes us to 8 considerations. A, consideration of a request for subdivision fee reduction waiver and an extension of a deadline for subdivision completion to December 9, 2023 at the cottages of Drew, 7950 Drew Avenue. This is the item that I should have said wanted to be tabled due to a personal family matter. Can I get a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That'll be tabled to July 12th. 8B, consideration of a plan commission recommendation to approve a conditional use for amendments to the streetscape of the subject property, PC 02-2021 Village Center, PUD Hassan. Evan?
Thank you, Mayor. As stated, this is item 8B. It's a recommendation to approve a conditional approval for the Village Center to amend its streetscape along buildings 4 and 5A. Buildings 4 and 5A colloquially are the Hampton Social Building and the Loft/Topaz Building. So the second of the 4 blocks, or the third of the 4 blocks north to south of the village center. The PUD received a significant approval in 2020 to amend it to receive conditional approval regarding further streetscape details subject to terms included in this ordinance. Just going through it, again, this was discussed several times by the Plan Commission. I'm going to back out a little bit. But again, this is the opportunity that the Village Center brought forward to close Village Center Drive between Lifetime Drive and the Village Green. The purpose being of activating the area for outdoor dining, entertainment, just general public use that was non-vehicular, to get people more outside. We saw outside dining and outside entertainment be a major source of entertainment, fun, overall culture here in the village over the pandemic, and I think the Village Center did a lot of good work to seize upon that and make improvements at their property. This is approved unanimously by the Plan Commission. But as I said, the basic premise here is that the block would be closed except for emergencies. This dotted orange line here in the middle would remain wide enough and be open for ambulances, ladder trucks, anything that needed to get through to do public safety duties. There are going to be removable bollards here at either end of the center. And there is an intersection here which is going to remain within the streetscape. It's going to be fully curbed, and there'll be drop-off lanes for the valet in 3 different locations here. There are a number of things that are not in consideration for approval tonight. The first are, generally speaking, I should say, the only thing before you tonight is the engineering/site plan approvals. That's things like the bricks, any plumbing that may need to be moved, any sanitary that may need to be moved, the relocation and redesign of this streetscape here, curbing, bollards, etc. Things such as fencing for the outdoor dining are not considered. Things like lighting are not considered. Any temporary enclosures, not considered. Those things will be coming back at a later date. Purpose of that is that the Village Center has said that they want to have more tenant engagement from those restaurants that they're trying to site at that particular location to get a more consistent feel of the overall block that they're trying to create there. So again, as stated, this is to direct staff to prepare an ordinance to approve these amendments to the Village Center PUD, PCO 2/2021. I see the petitioner here tonight. I'll be here to answer any questions you have. Thanks.
Okay, any questions of any trustees? We've been discussing this. This is now the vote to do it tonight. I think we've been over this. This is at the request of the owner, and I think all, as I understand it, I think this is a pretty good idea, pretty exciting. It's going to bring a new, as they say today, new vibe to the place. Make it an entertainment district. It'll be from Topaz and Kohler on one end, and the other end is where Hampton Social and Teller Loft is at the other. That streetscape will be created. The road will be closed. Is there any? So, can I get a motion to approve the recommendation for a conditional use for amendments to the streetscape of the subject property PCO2 2021 Village Center PUD Hassan?
So moved.
Second.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Any public comment?
Mayor Grassley.
Yes.
I went over and I looked at the photos, and I'm impressed with the Village Center. I'm happy that he's investing to promote the center, and I love the idea. And I just, I hope some other strip centers take notice and start making investments in their property as well.
Yeah, maybe like across the way?
Something like that.
In any event. Anybody else? All right, we've had, yes, Trustee Francis?
Thank you. I'm supportive of this request. I'm impressed that the owner is making this significant investment in his property, and I'm sure it'll reap many benefits to the residents, the businesses, and the surrounding area. Thank you.
I just want to echo what Trustee Francis is saying. We are very excited to see new and exciting things happen in Burr Ridge. The art fair was a kickoff, and I was saving it towards the end, but it brought a lot of visitors from neighboring towns, and the remarks I heard from people were amazing. People loved it. The vendors were very happy with the traffic that came to Burr Ridge, so I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm very excited about it. Thank you.
Yes, Russ?
Just a quick comment to thank our Plan Commission on pushing this through. So they've been very supportive of all this work, and it's very much appreciated. Thank you.
Yes, the Plan Commission has had a busy couple of months, I would say. Okay, with that, roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Paveza?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
6-0, the motion passes. Thank you. Good luck, Ramsey. All right, that takes us to item 9, which is public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board on any subject? You have up to 5 minutes.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I've decided to use these public forums to provide information and also to listen. Your meeting tonight was...
Please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
My name is Lori Burchett. I am finding myself now, but I'm finding out, when I've listened to you speak tonight, it was truly remarkable. You try for your community to pull this together, and that is not the case in other situations. So I just wanted to acknowledge you for that. You truly care. By the way you talk, and you appreciate feeding somebody, that's tremendous to the receiver and to the giver. Random acts of kindness go a long way. So I'm here tonight because I started a grassroots movement in 2015, and initially it was called Made Less Than Human, then Made Human Again. I was leveled in a divorce. It was a very difficult time, but through the grace of God, I made it, and all is well, and I'm here before you now. Made Less Than Human has evolved into We the People, and it is encompassing many middle America civil servants, first responders, people who love this country, who pledge allegiance to the flag. A situation come up that I wanted to flag that's important, and it involves a person in your community. It's involving a gentleman by the name of Rob Filio. Rob always thought I'd be good in an office, and I appreciated that. In 2013 to 15, I landed a job, one of 5, working 7 days a week at Home Depot, merchandise executioner. Can someone flag this? I'd like the last 30 seconds because I need a closing here. I don't have a timer on here, and I usually run over. Okay. So I worked every day, 5 jobs, cleaning bays at Home Depot from 5:30 to 1:30, 5:30 a.m. to 1:30. I was hired to do the job to the best of my ability, and I did that. And my employees, my executives, and customers were shocked that I would do the job with such integrity and character, and I was proud to do it. That's what I was paid for. When I started Home Depot, there was a mandatory donation. There was 325,000 employees at Home Depot at the time. I gave $1 out of my 10 to the veterans because it was the right thing to do. If someone would sacrifice their life for me and my kids here in the States, the least I could do would give $1. So I started looking at things differently. There was 325,000 employees, times 2 checks per month, $650, times 12 months, that was $7,800,000, and veterans weren't seeing anything in 18 months. Every once in a while, they'd throw them a bone, make a ramp, in Taylor, Michigan, and they used veterans to build, and they donated the labor, so there wasn't a lot going out the door. So I had a pretty good network established at that point, and a gentleman I spoke to whom I trusted, who I respected, said, see what's going on at the SEC. So I reported to the SEC. I ended up having a conversation with the director at the time, Sean McKessie, and I sent him a flash drive of the financials that I had. And also I had access to Edgar at the time too. And I learned about that, which was helpful. He took it upon himself, made significant changes within the company. 2 of the owners came back. But the point being that corruption was so rampant, nobody cared. It was a given everywhere. Every publicly traded company, Target had it, Home Depot, it was everywhere. And I just couldn't see how we were going to survive all this. So in 2013, I wrote a letter to Graybeards in New York. They were flooded in 2000. The coast of New York was flooded, and Graybeards was an organization which started with Korean veterans. But why I wrote the letter, because Rob Filios, one of his children, was married to a New York firefighter who was the son of the CEO, Steve Status of Graybeards of Bell Harbor, New York. And they were on that strip of land, and it just got inundated. Mr. Filio was kind enough, after the letter, he was inspired to drive a truck and donate a bunch of goods to the people which were in desperate need there after the storm, and Graybeards and Rob started an affiliation. In 2015, I'm still looking for work. I was leveled, beaten into submission by those that could, and still knowing that I could do a good job. So I interviewed for a position as a buyer in a food, with a food distributor. The man was my elder, and during the third interview, and I apologize if this is gross or shocking, but hopefully you'll start to understand where we're at in America. During the third interview, if I wanted the job, I would have to perform oral sex with him and then others in the chain of command. And I was so beaten down, I didn't even think to go to first responders to get help, to file a report, to say I have a problem. I just took it. So on Mother's Day, May 15th, I wrote a letter. It was a lengthy letter, posted on Facebook, and I said, I'm going to run for president and make changes. I ended up talking to Rob. We were always talking during this time, and he said, you're going to be the most powerful person in the world. And I didn't see it as the most powerful. I seen that the politicians, nobody's doing anything to help America except pulling it apart. The political parties are redefining themselves into something that we can't even recognize anymore, into the future of our kids. They're not going to have a future. The weather's going to continue to change. It's going to change significantly. So on June 1st, 2021, I continue to write. I wrote a Memorial Day tribute, and I can send it to you via email if you want. And it was in regards to first responders and 9/11. I reached out to Graybeards. Graybeards, their mission statement was all about 9/11. I thought this is going to be a good fit. I was looking for seed money for We the People, but I was always also looking to collaborate throughout the United States with good people, which I thought men were honorable and had integrity. So June 1st was the first contact, sent the email to them. I sent them 2 other documents. One, the third one was more about the mission statement of We the People and what it would take to get us there. I spoke to Rob Filio on June 16th and 17th. Rob, the first call, said, Graybeards aren't going to call you back. I thought it was a good fit. He said, no, they're not going to call you back because you don't have anything. They're not going to give you any money, and neither am I. I said, I'd send Home Depot to the SEC. He said, I don't want to talk about that. And then he said, I didn't have anything to go on. There was nothing relatable, sustainable, or scalable, a business model. And he asked me if I had any evidence of this grassroots movement, We the People. And I said, no, I don't have anything. That's all I do is hold up a flag, and I get a response from people on the street all over now, all over. And Mr. Filio used a word as in waving the flag. He called it platitude. And it caught me off guard because I thought, we assume what we want to assume about each other, but when you're talking to someone and you get it in the moment and it's truthful, you're thinking, that was a weird response. So I had to look it up. It was trite, trivial, commonplace, overused, and had no originality. And that's not what I'm seeing in there with We the People. America's willing to rally as long as there's someone to rally with and for and actually hold the line without corruption, lying, cheating, and stealing. So that's what.
Ms. Burkett, you're almost at 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. So let me close here. So we're going to bypass misogyny because that's another subject. But I want to thank the men and women and the few women who have shown me my place in society. I'm announcing my candidacy for President of the United States in 2024 in Burr Ridge. And I want to thank you for that. The thing that's going to happen is no lying, no cheating, no stealing, no toleration, and flushing out corruption at every level. And there's many cases right now with the government agencies, good people in the United States, that are willing to do the right thing for us on the line. So thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there any other public comment? Okay, reports and communications from village officials.
All right.
Anyone?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I talked a little bit about the art fair. If you missed it, well, wait for, there'll be another one in another, 354 days. So, but it was very well attended and a great success. We're all getting ready for Taste of Burr Ridge, which is going to be on October 9th, and the grand finale will be the car show on October 10th. The concerts start on August 5th. Through the 30th of September. They're going to be on Thursdays, and Burr Ridge will have fireworks at Walker Park on July 3rd, starting at 9:45 p.m. All right?
Thank you.
So lots of fun stuff to enjoy.
Anyone else on this side? Wait, you go last.
I go last.
Anybody? You three? Okay, last, you go.
Thank you. I'm just questioning the board. Is there any desire to reconsider the board's approval of the minutes of the May 24th, 2021 meeting of the village board based upon the request of Ms. Patricia Davis?
I think you all got an email. Ms. Davis, I overlooked her request at the last board meeting. She requested that the minutes for the prior board meeting of May 24th be removed and the minutes be revised to show that Mayor Grasso alleges it was Patricia Davis speaking in the May 10, 2021 board meeting where she used the effing Goomba comment. And so she wants the minutes to be revised so that it would show that Mayor Grasso alleges it was Patricia Davis speaking in the May 10, 2021 board meeting, since neither the mayor nor the village is able to show proof to that effect. Does anybody on the board wish to entertain Ms. Davis's request that the minutes be reconsidered and amended according to her recollection?
If you do, you need to make a motion.
If so, you need to make a motion to revise the minutes. Do I have such a motion? Good.
Legally, is it, where are we legal? I mean, to me, I can't see reason to make a motion, but is there some reason that we should?
No, she's requested it.
She requested it.
Oh, and I didn't bring it up the last board meeting, so I'm bringing it up now. There is no question and no direction from the board to revisit this topic, so that's the end of it.
Thank you for allowing that request.
You're welcome. Okay, I have just a couple of things I was going to echo about the art fair. It was our first one. I saw Tony there. I saw Anita there. It was a pretty good event. I walked the entire, I was kind of surprised at how many booths there were, how many different, and there was even a sake booth to try sake.
It was, I mean, I went there both days and it was very well attended.
Yeah, so it was good. This coming Sunday, July 4th, we will celebrate Independence Day. In observance of the holiday, village offices will be closed Monday, July 5th. Hinsdale's annual parade will take place on July 3rd. The Burr Ridge mayor will be in it with 4 of his grandchildren. So come join the festivities and look for me and my family as we participate in the parade. The board and I wish you all the residents of Burr Ridge, all the residents of this county, of these 2 counties, Cook and DuPage, this state and this great country, been through a lot in the last 18 months, and then we got visited by a big windstorm. So still the greatest nation in the world, and so please celebrate it all weekend, next weekend, and on July 4th. And so on behalf of the village, I wish all of you the best. With that, can I get a motion to go into closed session for the following reasons? A, discussion of minutes of meetings lawfully closed under this act for purposes of approval by the Board of the Minutes, 5 ILCS 120-2C21. B, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body under 5 ILCS 122C1, and C, pending litigation and probable or imminent litigation based upon the village board's finding that litigation on a certain matter is probable or imminent. 5 ILCS 122C11. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Snyder?
Yes.
Trustee Matal?
Yes.
Trustee Francis?
Yes.
Trustee Skiappa?
Yes.
Trustee Pavesa?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0, the motion passes.
We're recessing and we'll be back.
Okay, we're recessing, going into closed session, and we will be back.